This is your Chargers linebacker, Dan Henley, and you're tuning in with Chargers Unleashed.
Welcome to another edition of Chargers Unleashed. Jake Hefner and Dale Wolkenstein here with you from the LAFB Network. If this is your first time tuning in this show, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube, but also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Dan Wolkenstein, it's a late night episode of Chargers Unleashed tonight. It's late night for the Chargers faithful, but it's a good night for the Chargers faithful as the Chargers have officially kicked off the preseason with a resounding victory over the Detroit Lions in the Hall of Fame game, 34-7. Dan Wolkenstein, lots to get into as it relates to this game. Lots of player spotlights to talk about. Obviously, the atmosphere overall of just football being back. It is a great, great thing. And I don't know how you could have asked for a much better start than that. That was pretty good. That was a pretty good start to the preseason if you're a Chargers fan for sure. But lots to get into. Obviously, thank you for everybody that's here and joining us. We know it's late night. Dan and I had contemplated on whether or not we were going to make this a live show or if we just wanted to record it and drop it tomorrow. And then we said, you know what? Screw it.
Hi.
We're in good moods, as I'm sure everybody is in a good mood that watched that game. And, of course, we wanted to get your guys' thoughts and opinions. And, as usual, share them in the chat. If you got them, ask us any questions. We'll do our best over the next hour or so to get into everything. But Dan Wolkenstein, how does it feel, sir? Football is back.
Honestly, man, it feels great. And, you know, to hell with a win or a loss, like I don't really care about that, but it's just nice to see just football back, right? Shout out to Antonio Gates, the GOAT. That statistic about him being the only Hall of Fame player in NFL history to not start a single college snap is unreal. But it's amazing to see this Chargers team produce and look like they kind of know what they're doing. Like, when's the last time we saw like a wire-to-wire win like that in preseason? Because usually preseason historically has been when backups who aren't that great don't play that great. And, you know, we'll get into all of the shining stars, but hats off to the coaching staff. Hats off to one Jesse Minter and Joe Ortiz, because Chargers fans are not used to bottom of the roster competition looking like that. And for a game that includes very little starters, racking up 34 points, racking up how many turnovers, your second string quarterback's looking like an actual second string quarterback. There's a lot to be excited about. And the part that I loved about this, Jake, kind of kick it off before I ask you how you're doing, is it felt like, you know, Jim Harbaugh kind of poked the bear a little bit when he kind of said, like, we'll see if they can rise to the challenge, right? Like, no pressure, but, you know, everyone's watching. It was great to see the players that we've seen, for the most part, shine at training camp, shine in preseason. And there's a couple names that I know, Jake, that you are very high on. One no more so than a one Nico Reed. But guys that we saw, Caleb Murphy was balling today. You saw Nico Reed balling today. You saw Tony Jefferson doing Tony Jefferson things. Trey Lance goes. No one's seen Trey Lance play like that consistently, right? Like we're seeing guys. KLS continues his training camp story, right? Like it was fun. The running back battles, there's a whole bunch there, right? But guys rose to the challenge, and hell, competitors welcome. Jake, I think my main storyline for this is just the team rose to the challenge and they were ready for the first preseason game, and they didn't stink up the place. How are you? And what was your first key takeaway from this?
It's a good night. It's a good night on Thursday. I know that this is essentially Chargers After Dark. Any other occasion, if it wasn't a Thursday and if it wasn't a work day, this would be replaced with something of an alcoholic version for sure. We'll try to get that in on the next one.
It still might be.
But overall, Dan, it's a great start to the preseason for the Chargers. In that game specifically, you started off the way you did in getting a fumble recovery on the kickoff. I'd say the biggest thing that probably everybody felt good about is the backup quarterback play was not nearly into the abyss as we have seen in the last couple of years. We had talked about it prior to this game, centralized around why Brendan Rice just couldn't get a ball thrown to him last year in preseason because the quarterback play was so terrible. And now Trey Lance, who, ironically enough, the last time that the Chargers saw Trey Lance was in preseason of last year against the Dallas Cowboys, when they had 5 turnovers in that game, when Tony Jefferson went like a madman and reminded everybody that he's not playing for preseason. He was playing for a roster spot last year. And I think he's just trying to tell everybody that he's just ready for a regular season to start with the way that he's playing right now. And just to see the offensive flow of Trey Lance and this wide receiver group and him out there calling that offense, it was a refreshing sight to see. Now, it wasn't flawless by any means. There was definitely some things that we could pick apart from that, namely on the offensive line in some respects. I would have liked to see some, aspects of the running game be a little bit better. But overall, I thought on both sides of the ball, I thought the Chargers played a really solid game. And of course, a lot of names to go through this as we recap the game in its entirety, but you got to feel good about it.
Yeah, let's get to some of the folks in the chat because y'all are here with us. We don't want to sugarcoat things either, right? Like there are things that were good, and then there are things that I think continued the narrative that a lot of people were concerned about. I think glaring one would be the Zion Johnson showing. Now, again, I don't want to put my foot on the throat. I got to go back and I want to watch everything, like all 22, so I can kind of see how he does. But you can't have bobbled snaps and stuff like in the first series, multiple, especially if you're vying for a starting spot. Like that's hard. Jim Harbaugh praised him afterwards for his flexibility and how smart he is and his physicality. But like, I'm sorry, it's hard to see that and to think that that's going to be your best option. But again, I'll wait. But no, Jake, I guess like we talked about a lot of highs, like other than Zion Johnson, were there any, I guess, like lows, not to bring it down a little bit, but not necessarily performance wise, but like, I wish I would have seen a little bit more Trey Harris. I wish I would have seen a little bit more like Amari Hampton, but like, I don't need to see any more Amari Hampton after that. Like the one run that he cut outside, I would have liked to have seen him break that tackle and get in the end zone, but like he looked good, man. Anything else that was kind of like left you more to be desired?
Yeah, defensively, especially with this kind of being a makeshift offensive line for Detroit, given all the pieces that have moved around, I would have liked to see a little bit more pressure from the edge players. I know that I was hoping to actually really focus on Kyle Kennard and Tremont Morris-Brash tonight. Yeah. Didn't see nearly the amount of pressures that I was hoping to see from that group. I think the numbers that were coming out again, these aren't in totality, but I think Caleb Murphy and Tremont Morris-Brash were tied for pressures. And then the rest of the group was, outside of that, was not the best in terms of what they did on the playing field. So I would have liked to have seen a little bit better from them, especially as it relates to, Kyle Kennard, who we expect to round out the edge group and be part of that core four with Khalil Mack and Thule and Bud Dupree. But Tremont Morris-Brash is a guy who I think is also going to be trying to play for a roster spot. I think he's definitely a lock for the practice squad for sure, considering the fact that he's, he just has a lot of those similar traits to Kyle Kennard in terms of, transferring speed to power when it comes to getting after the quarterback. And he came close a couple times. He did. He came close a couple times in this game. There was a lot of times when he was also double teamed throughout that game. I don't think Detroit wanted to put him in one-on-one competition whatsoever. But Caleb Murphy really showed out, especially on special teams tonight. That was a very nice surprise. He got the game started with that forced fumble on the kickoff that really started things for the Chargers offensively after that. But outside of that, Dan, maybe a little bit from the run defense to kind of pair with that, because there was some times where it looked like Detroit's offensive line started to manhandle the line of scrimmage, especially in short yardage situations for them. And I would have liked to just see a little bit more from that. But again, it's preseason game number 1. There's a lot of roster spots that we're going to be talking about in terms that are up for grabs, and the benefit for the Chargers is they have an extra preseason game this year to evaluate that talent.
Yeah, I agree. Jorge says that Tito looks like a lean, mean machine. Yeah, he looked good in that first series, tell you that much. First defensive series, I should say. I would have liked to see more of him like a Boygby. And again, I'll have to go back and kind of watch some of this to kind of see snap counts and see what they were able to do. But yeah, for a lot of times it seemed like the defensive line wasn't able to garner that much pressure, especially from the outside. Like inside, I felt like there were hot flashes at time for sure.
Naquan Jones for sure was getting in the backfield early.
Yeah. So I will say though, we didn't really see much Rocket Sanders today. I don't think I saw any of Rocket Sanders today, actually.
He actually did not end up playing in this game.
But that doesn't mean we didn't see some stellar in my eyes, like impressive performances given, who's playing and who's not playing. Like I thought Hassan Haskins, looked really good today. I love Nyheim Hines, looked also really good. I was like, wow, I know he has that kind of that start-stop side ability, but like he looked good. Combined with Dahl on that 4th down run, like he had a couple big ones too. We'll see again when we go back to the tape what that blocking looked like on the inside, but they bounced out a couple outside. The running game looked physical. Omarion Hampton, that first drive, like that's why you drafted him. Like even that first run that he had that went for 3, like he was stopped for nothing. But that type of running back with that size and physicality trait, like falls forward for 3. Then you see that cut that he makes for whatever 8 yards later. Like the kid has it, man. Like it's pretty glaring to see. Sorry, Miller Hines. My apologies. But I think we have to give the praise, Jake, and I'm going to let you take all of the muster for this one. We saw Nico Reed flash that he was your UDFA darling, so UDFAD, and the guy has showed out at camp too. I don't know this, don't quote me, but I think he's had pass breakups the last like 4 camps consecutively, and that's
throwing a pick 6 in that one as well.
And that continues with an interception for 60-yard return in this game. Should have had a sack, by the way. An incredible PBU that almost was a forced fumble in the first quarter. I mean, again, like it's easy to get enamored by these preseason darlings and camp darlings, but when they do it in preseason, especially on defense, and they are consistently there, it is hard to keep them off the roster. And again, it's just one game. But we talked about, like, at least one of the things I was looking for in this game was the back end rotation for DBs, like the Triquez Bridges versus the RJ Mickens versus the Dean Leonards, just
be a tough competition.
And Nico Reed. I don't know how you don't have him above all of them, honestly. Maybe Dean Leonard above him. I'm not sure, but like, given what we've seen at camp and heard at camp, what we've seen during a preseason game, I mean, Nico Reed looked like he was the guy throwing to on the interception. The pass breakup was incredible. Maybe a little bit more fundamentals of tackling on that sack, but he was there. Like, it's all there. I mean, the floor is yours, sir. Like, this guy, he looked great, dude.
I'm not going to use this moment to stand up on a pedestal. This is all about Nico Reed and what he has done since training camp. Look, him and along with Rocket Sanders were my 2 favorite UDFAs in terms of opportunities to make this team. You go back and you watch Nico Reed in Oregon and you just watch his instincts that he had at Oregon. Those were on display tonight. His ability to read, react, and tackle, those were on display tonight. I don't know how, just in general, for any rookie coming into the league, let alone an undrafted free agent, it's hard there's very few that start off as hot as Nico Reed has. And that's practices included with one preseason game. There's very few that have started that good.
We didn't even talk about the hockey assists that he had on Tony Jefferson interception.
When you put together a game like Nico Reed did tonight with a pass breakup, with a interception, with the tackles that he made on special teams, nearly having a sack. I mean, I thought he was going to hit for the cycle tonight, really. I mean, he was just out there doing everything. You may have even seen him playing wide receiver at some point. Who knows, with as good as he was playing. Right now, we talked about this last week before the game. One of the most interesting camp battles to watch was at the cornerback position.
Yep.
Just with everybody having a standout moment leading up to this game. I think there is no question that you can firmly say that that competition battle is now probably locked between Nico Reed, and you could have differing opinions on this if you want, but I will say it's between Nico Reed and Ja'Sir Taylor. Strictly from the standpoint that Nico is a little bit more of a smaller body quarterback than what's in that room, but he has that ability to play inside, outside if you need him to. And just his instincts work so well at the cornerback spot.
Yeah.
But if we want to, progressively bring this down to say, okay, instead of it just being a camp battle of a group, to eventually dwindling it down to say, okay, who's going to get that final roster spot between X and Y player? I think right now it's between Nico Reed and Ja'Sir Taylor, and I don't see how you could say that Nico Reed doesn't have a huge leg up on that right now after his performance tonight.
Yeah, Nico Reed, I mean, look, he looked like he belonged, and he was the best corner out there. I don't think there's any question. And to be the best corner out there for your first season game, and you're trying to fight for a bottom of the roster position, that says a lot. Like that's a good thing. And again, like, this is shout out to Steve Clinkscale, right? Coach Klink. Shout out to Jesse Minter, because
he knows how to develop those damn DBs, doesn't he?
Yeah. Who was the cat that got the interception in the fourth quarter?
Purchase,
bro. That should not have been an interception. That was amazing.
Pulled a David Copperfield to end the game. Just all of a sudden says,
Purchase.
You thought it was over here. No, it's over here. It's in my hand, and game over.
So ho-hum 3 picks in the first preseason game, 2 of which are from dudes that you've never heard of until a month ago. And then Uncle himself, Tony Jefferson. You'll take that.
Yes. Someone forgot to tell Tony it's preseason, but he does not care. It's just, this is his time to shine right now. You're just waiting. He's just waiting for the regular season to start.
Yep. Yeah. Forgot. Look, I'll ask, how do you think the DB room will shake out? Okay. So prediction, I don't want to be prisoner of the moment. Okay. So let's just pause for a sec. You've got Dante Jackson, St. Juice.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Tarheeb Still, Cam Hart. That's 4. I think those 4 are safe. Agreed? No question. Okay. Then at most, you're going to have 6. I can't see more than 6. 5, possibly, but let's just say 6. So there are 2 spots left. And you've got Dean Leonard, Ja'Sir Taylor, Triquez Bridges, Nico Reed. That's 4. Who am I missing? Purchase. Let's put him in there. Fine.
Are you just doing corner, or are you adding safeties?
I'm just doing corner. I'm not even talking RJ Mickens. I'm not talking safeties.
Yeah.
That's 4 or 5 there that you're jockeying for 2 spots.
To Dan's point where he's going with this, I had actually forgotten about it until I looked it up recently. Last year, I forgot, Dan, that when the initial 53-man roster came out, the Chargers actually kept 11 DBs, corners and safeties included.
Was it 6 and 5?
Yes, it was 6 and 5. So, because I think at safety, Tony Jefferson with that final preseason game made the roster. You had AJ Finley, you had JT Woods that you kept on the roster for that initial 53 last year, along with Alohi, Elijah Molden that you got, and Derwin James. Now, obviously, that got retooled and reworked a little bit. But I had forgotten that the Chargers actually kept 11 DBs on the initial 53 last year.
It's going to be tough.
Between Nico Reed and RJ Mickens, the way that they've been playing as of late over the last couple of weeks, and of course in this game, the DB room is going to be a bitch to figure out, honestly. But it's for the best reasons. It's for the best reasons right now.
Yeah, and I think so. I'm trying to think of how to say this, but like, so last year, I think there's a lot of hype for some of the players that, pass catchers. But unfortunately, I think largely because one, Justin Herbert was not there on the field for training camp, most of it.
Hype for pass catchers, and literally you could only deal with so much. I mean, you had to root for somebody because the Chargers wide receiver room last year was
no, but to make matters worse, right? Like what compounded that was the fact that like you didn't see any good quarterback play during preseason really or camp.
Yep.
And what a difference it makes when you have a competent quarterback, right? Like take about Trey Lance. Like he's gone through the ringer, right? Like we've all seen the history. Everyone talked about him at length tonight in the broadcast. Third stint. I mean, he looked under control. He was throwing some dimes. He could have had 2 more touchdowns. In fact, he probably should have had 2 more touchdowns. 2 balls hit receivers in the hands, one of which just didn't get their feet in. The other one dropped it with their feet in, by the way. But conversely, you get a competent starter, right? For the first 2.5 quarters, 13 for 20, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, just 1 sack. What does that show you? Like it shows you who some of your pass catchers could possibly be. And like, how funny does that feel to be able to actually see it? You get to see a KeAndre Lambert-Smith go crazy, right? You get to see great catch by Tucker Fisk, Will Dissly getting involved again. You get to see some of these receptions that we were just begging for last year. And we just get to see any of them, right? Like you saw Jalen Johnson, Delvin Campbell, Oronde Gadsden, Naheem Hines, Darius Davis, Brendan Rice, Garrett Patterson, all these guys got catches today.
I'm glad you brought up Darius Davis because the way that Trey Lance was flinging it around to these big-bodied wide receivers, I think he forgot how short Darius Davis was because it was the one pass that he sails that's way over his head that Darius Davis had to jump up to catch that ultimately ended up, stalling a drive. Yep. But yes, he still got some action. So outside of him just placing that ball not in the right spot for Darius Davis, considering the size difference of the rest of this wide receiver group. Yeah. Getting this type of quarterback play was great.
Yeah. And so I think roll real quick. Money talks. Athir is here. Shout out to friend of the show, Athir. We have Athir saying with $5 donation, I want to see my coach play all starters on both sides of the ball in week 3 of preseason to get ready for the Chiefs game. Do you agree or not? No, disagree. Next.
Disagree. Do I think that you're going to see a little bit more of a handful of starters play in that preseason game just to ramp up a little bit? 100%, maybe for a series or 2, but don't even put Derwin James out there. I don't want to see Derwin James in the preseason whatsoever. And other certain guys as well. They should not be setting foot out on that preseason field. No.
I don't either. Matthew Dahl says Taylor is done. I don't know if Jasir Taylor. Like again, I don't know. We don't want to put stock in one. Oh, maybe I don't know if he's saying Taylor Heineke or Jasir Taylor.
I think he's talking about Jasir Taylor.
Okay. We'll see. Athir, this is my first live show on the tablet. Let's go, baby. Welcome. KeAndre Lambert-Smith, Jake. We saw him. He was out with an injury for a bit during camp, and we were wondering, like, is that going to set him behind the 8 ball a little bit? Nope.
Hold my beer.
Nope.
Or hold my football because I can catch anything that comes to me, as like he said in the press conference. What was it? Wednesday? No, Tuesday. Excuse me.
And it's kind of apropos that this Chargers team, who fans have been desperate for, like, can we please get an explosive, right? Can we get somebody in the boundary that can go deep and catch it, that can separate? And the first deep ball, by the way, great throw by Trey Lance. Great catch. but he made it look so easy. He was like, whatever.
Yeah, I got this back shoulder pass, no worries.
From
Throw
35.
it right between the corner and the safety. I got it right here. Bang. Continues the drive. That was on a third down play. And then to see later in the game when he gets his touchdown, it's like, oh, it's not just a straight line that KLS can run. He's got some juke there at the line of scrimmage and is able to get around the defender and get wide open. Dan, it's looked really, really good for KeAndre Lambert-Smith.
How good? Like, so where are we at with him? Because, I mean, again, like the touchdown that he got, I mean, that DB was in a different zip code.
In general, it was a rough night for Enos Rengstraw against KeAndre Lambert-Smith. Don't forget, he also got them on a holding penalty when it was an incomplete pass. So he didn't even have to catch the ball to contribute to the game. You're talking about how good, Dan. I will go back to what I've been saying about this draft class with these offensive weapons. Joe Ortiz has the opportunity to look like a damn genius if you can get Omarion Hampton, Trey Harris, Oronde Gadsden, and KeAndre Lambert-Smith all to become impact players in their first season.
At just offense.
And the fact that you're hearing the things that you've heard about from all four of those players up to this point in camp, now seeing them starting to contribute in actual preseason play against defenses that they're not familiar with. I mean, Dan, they're going to need these guys. Number one, they're going to get their opportunities. It's not like they're going to get only a finite amount of snaps come the regular season. I think there is absolute 100% expectations for these guys to come in day one and contribute. And it's just the point that you're already seeing things like this, whether it's highlight reel catches from KLS, now obviously contributing in real-time speed. What we've seen from Trey Harris in practice thus far with some of these catches that he's been getting from Justin Herbert. Oronde Gadsden, who's essentially been the preseason star since he set foot on the practice field. Like, that train has not slowed down. It's funny that it feels like we have talked about those three guys more than we have talked about Omarion Hampton. And that's saying something. That's wild when you actually put it in that type of perspective.
I think we're not talking about a Jamar Caldwell yet. We're not talking about a Kyle Kennard yet. We're not talking about a Triquez Bridges, RJ Mickens, right? Like, we're not sitting here putting all our eggs in all the baskets, right? Like, they got a lot of players that they drafted. And that's not even talking about Nico Reed, who could be a UDFA star, right? Like, I can't think of another time that I have covered / been a fan of this team that I can recall in a 2-year stint. Again, we'll see if it plays out. But let's just say it does. And you get those 4 offensive playmakers to shine, plus Nico Reed, 5. Let's just say none of the other ones do, which feels kind of hard to say, but let's just say none of them do. That's 5 this year. Then you go back a year ago and look at what you got in Lad McConkey, Joe Alt and company. Right? Like, we'll see about Junior Colson. That could be gravy this year. Right? Cam Hart, Tarheeb Still. I mean, that's what good organizations do.
Jim Harbaugh alluded to that in his press conference after the game when he said, he's like, the reason that we're deeper, the reason that we have more competition at certain positions, and he didn't say it by name, but he's obviously crediting Joe Ortiz from the standpoint of what they've been able to draft and the free agents they have brought in over the last 2 years. Dan, we talked about it. I mean, last year, like, yes, you felt that this team was more competitive, but it was incomplete in certain facets because they weren't as deep at certain positions. That was their mission in the offseason throughout free agency and the draft in terms of, what's that old saying? Build a floor to lift the ceiling. I think you could say for maybe about 90% of the team, the Chargers built the floor.
Yeah, the floor has been raised.
100%.
Gladiator for freedom. As a Michigan man, Jim Harbaugh does what he has consistently done. No cap against the Lions, but this was solely about coaching acumen, to y'all's credit, the Chargers, this just happens to be year 2. Harbaugh 2.0. Forgotten locale. There's still a lot of ball left to be played, but I feel there's going to be some acceptable players that will be the odd man out. Yes. And that, as weird as it sounds, like that's what the goal is, right? Like you want guys to be clamoring for those last spots, and you want that decision to be tough. But yeah, we said this a couple weeks ago, Jake. Like, be prepared for some names that you are going to be shocked, right? Like, it's going to hurt. And
I know we've said this same type of phrase seemingly almost every season when it comes to, I mean, because let's be real, like any cut down day for anybody in the NFL when it comes to situations like this is tough. And throughout preseasons, through different regimes, you always get someone that you absolutely root for and think that guy can come in and contribute. We've all seen it before from certain UDFAs in the past. But this year, yeah, this one feels like it's going to hurt. And you're going to say, when that player X walks out the door and ends up getting picked up by another team, you're going to say, shit. The roster needs to be expanded to 60 players or whatever the hell it is to keep all these guys.
Yep. Yeah. Kevin Kernick, friend of the show, we just witnessed an incredibly professional football organization. That was kind of like that's kind of where I was leaning towards too by the end of this. It's like, wow, this looks like a competent, organized, disciplined, balanced, deep, talented football team.
A lot of adjectives there that have historically not been associated with this franchise. It's refreshing to hear that and to see the perspective of that. So
back to, there's a bunch of people in the chat, Jake, asking about the Terry McLaurin possibilities and trade, and do we want that to happen? So I was kind of asking about, how high are you on KLS? I'm not saying KLS is going to be Terry McLaurin by any stretch, but like, if KLS becomes who KLS looked like tonight, you've got Ladd McConkey, and Trey Harris becomes what you think Trey Harris is going to become. Quentin is a bit of a variable. Do you think it's worth trade? I'm not saying McLaurin's not a good player, but do you think it's worth trading your draft capital with that room for that player? That's tough.
I totally understand the enticing aspect of it, especially now since he's formally requested a trade. I just don't feel like...
And you got the money. You got the money for it.
Number one,
right?
Yes, but number one, the biggest thing is I don't believe that Washington is going to part ways with him. I think that they understand how vital he is to Jaden Daniels and that team's offensive success. And yes, you may have this drag out into a long-term holdout and some bickering of this nature, but I think when push comes to shove, especially when you get towards the beginning of the season, I think that he'll remain with the Commanders, and they will end up finding a middle ground for him.
Yeah, and I go back to Joe Ortiz last year, kind of talking about like, you want to be responsible with your roster and roster construction and the salary cap. And yeah, they've got money to spend if they want to, but I don't see them going out and spending premium dollars on a wide receiver right now via trade and giving up money plus draft capital. That just doesn't fly for wide receivers specifically, right? Could I see something happen at the trade deadline where you can get it for pennies of dollars? Absolutely. Absolutely. But we'll see. We'll see. Another one. What'd you make of, it's preseason, whatever, but what'd you make of the fourth downs gone for, made? Is it just like let it rip? Who cares?
Yeah, preseason, man. I don't necessarily share the same sentiment that Chris Collinsworth decides to talk about preseason when he says, that this game doesn't matter in certain respects. I think he needs to rephrase what he says when he talks like that.
The score doesn't matter. The score does not matter.
It's preseason. This is the time when you do these things, when it's applicable to try these things. So, yeah, I had no issue with that whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was even better seeing the fact that the Chargers had success with it.
Yeah. And again, I talk about like a organized professional football team, right? Just 3 penalties for 25 yards, no turnovers. They were 4 for 6 on third down. They were 4 for 13 on third down. Not the greatest. 2 for 2 on fourth down, right? Like they were balanced. Rushing first down 6, passing first down 7. Held the ball for almost 33 minutes. They got 3 interceptions, special teams turnover. Like it's hard to be a more complete performance than that. Just like a team win, right? I will say, talk about down. So Jeremy's talking about the center position, which we should probably just get to now. I was literally shocked that Dicker missed that kick. The first one.
Get it out now. Get the misses out now.
I was like, wait, this doesn't happen. This is
and
so
look,
yeah,
whether
yards, but it was
Dicker or any other kicker that comes up to make a field goal, the announcers just need to shut up. Honest to God, I am a full believer in the announcer's curse when it comes to field goals. So if you want to talk about that when it's any team that's going up against the Chargers, by all means, say everything that you want, but just keep your mouth shut. I don't need to know. You can just put the stat up on the screen to say they have made 50 out of 50 consecutive field goals. That's fine. I can read. We're good. I don't need to hear them talk about it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
But if it's going to happen, get it out now.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Forgotten Lockout says, yeah, Dicker's watched. Sure. Yeah, I don't think that. Jeremy L. loves seeing Gates. Wish he's with Herbert. Yeah, it'd be fun. Does it surprise you that these secondary players responded and resembled the play of the starters? No,
not the way that Steve Klingscale has been talking about what he does with the DBs and safeties and wanting them to play multiple. He's been saying this since last year, and he's just continued to prove this. And essentially now you have built up your secondary with 2 fifth-round picks, 2 other players who were, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, 6th and 7th for between Jasir Taylor and Dean Leonard, 2 free agent acquisitions, and now an undrafted free agent in Nico Reed. That's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah. Yeah. Do I take it for granted? No. But I was fooled once with Jesse Minter last year. Like I ain't like in him, I trust. And fans, again, like I'm telling you, everyone's telling you, I've told you this. We had folks who are Michigan experts talk about this, but Jesse Minter is literally a defensive genius, and he's not going to be here for long. So enjoy him while you can. He's going to get plucked. But like, I think that's what is kind of fun about this, right? Is like, we saw it last year with how many random dudes that were brought in from opposing practice squads or free agents from the secondary. Remember that chunk of time, like a month went by where it was just like stacks of corners coming in. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. Boom, interception.
Why am I forgetting the name of the free agent that was signed that ended up getting the interception against Atlanta in the back of the end zone?
Was it Eli Apple?
No, not Apple.
But also,
no, it was a safety. I don't know why I'm forgetting the name now. I'm not living in 2024 right now, obviously.
Chargers.
But I was just trying to prove your point in terms of the turnstile that was the secondary last year. Yeah. Yes. Forgotten locale. Yes. May was his last name. Help me out here if anybody in the chat can.
M-A-Y-E.
Fix my broken head.
Hold on. Man.
Continue. But yes, to your point, Dan, that's
Marcus May.
Thank you. That's who it was. Yeah. It's just, and that week he had just been picked up off the street as a free agent and then comes in on Sunday to get an interception. These are the type of things that Steve Klingscale is capable of as a secondaries coach. That's how good he can develop these guys. It's a crazy coaching staff that the Chargers have right now, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Let's flip gears for a second. Did you see Andre James at center today?
No, and the more I thought about it, he may have been in the category of what Jim Harbaugh was talking about in terms of the veteran guys getting rest. I kept an eye out for that, and I was trying to see if I had actually missed it. But I think right after Zion was done, then they put in Josh Kautenberger.
That's a name.
Yes. So I think he took over at the center position as soon as Zion was done.
So I'm curious to see what preseason 2 looks like. Because I would put, I'll bet you a 6-pack, Jake, of whatever you want, that you will see Andre James at center in week 2.
What is it that I've been telling you, Dan,
about
the Zion Johnson situation? not that I am predicting that you're going to be wrong, but here's my theory. Did Zion Johnson have the best game for him being at center tonight? No, he did not. But I still believe, and this is not indicative of to say like, oh, that Zion's going to end up being the starter, but I still believe this coaching staff is going to give Zion Johnson every opportunity to find success. So 1 quarter of a preseason game playing a position that he's never played before, they got to give him more than that. And they've got to give him more snaps against defenses that he's not used to going up against every day. Now, again, I'm not standing up here and saying that, oh, he's eventually going to find his rhythm and he's going to be the center week 1. No, because I personally don't believe that that is the best course to victory. I've personally felt that it's the Andre James route. And over these last couple weeks, especially when you've heard Greg Roman now saying that Andre James is in the mix for the starters, I was like, okay, here we go. That sounds good. I think as it gets closer to the regular season, Dan, you'll start to see Andre James get filtered in there a little bit more. But in terms of this next preseason,
I'm saying next preseason 6-pack. I'm not saying start, but you'll see him.
Okay, well then, yeah, no doubt you're going to see him at center. I don't think they're fully going to eliminate him. Again, he's never played the position before. He needs as much snaps as he can. No,
I'm saying Andre James. You'll see Andre James at center preseason game number 2.
Oh, well then, sure. Because now it's kind of the beginning of the preseason that you would have normally with the rest of the other 30 teams that are out there. Again, this was the bonus game for the Chargers, considering that they have one more than anybody else. But yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. So
but it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me if the Chargers actually go and start Zion again.
Oh, me neither.
For the first couple of series.
Me neither. So there's a discourse here in the chat, which I think we can talk through this because I think it's important. By the way, it is 10:17 on a Thursday. It's been climbing consistently. Excuse me. We're up over 520 folks watching this right now. Y'all are mad men and women, and I love you for it. Wait, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I've gone 45 minutes. Jake, is your hoodie fully sleeved?
You're such a dick. No, it is not. I think you knew that the entire time.
No. I
have raised my arms up like this. There is no way that I wasn't paying attention. Tell.
I thought I thought you just like rolled them up, and I just saw like an inkling of arm, and I'm like, wait.
I think that you had that card in your back pocket, and you were just, oh shit, I forgot to play it.
Nope. I just lost it because
you're getting slow, Wolkenstein.
Yes, I can blame the kids that took forever to fall asleep tonight. I'm not even gonna front.
Jesus.
So School the Pro in the chat is talking about everyone has bad snaps, right? All centers have bad snaps. A lot of folks talking about, when Zion fumbled the snap in the first and goal. I almost
went to high snap right before that. Yep. It was not good. It wasn't good.
And then School of Pro then says, well, Zion is good in the run game. And Jeremy then says you can either have it or you don't. And Zion doesn't. And this is, I think what's important to remember is, sure, like, does everybody have a bad snap here or there? Yes. But let's not get it twisted, right? This is a center battle for who is going to be run blocking Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris and company And who is going to be protecting Justin Herbert? Who is going to be protecting the franchise, quite literally? And yes, there's an experiment happening with Zion at center. And sure, he's good in the run game, right? And yeah, he's smart off the field, maybe on the field. I don't know. But you can't go into a season with him as your starter. Like, again, let's just say all things stay the same right now, right? Let's say he continues to bobble snaps, he's good in the run game, and he misses things generally, right? Like, you can't roll with that. You can't. When you have a veteran who's played the position, I'm not saying he's great, but Bozeman's played the position and he was adequate. The team loves him, by the way. And you have Andre James, who also has played the position and played it damn well and blocked for a 2K running back. Like, it's hard to say, I'm going to put all my chickens on my, wow, I can't talk right now. I was combining like ducks in a row, eggs in a basket, whatever.
I don't know where you got chickens from, but hey, I'm with you.
No, but you can't put all of that in the hands of a center who hasn't done it, who hasn't blown the doors off of you. If Zion went out there, killed it, absolutely torched everyone on the defensive line, snapped everything perfectly, did some yes, okay, then I get it. But if you're trying to show us that you should be the new center that you've never played above two veteran centers, that's not how you do it. I'm sorry.
I'll make it simple, Dan. Do you want to see Zion Johnson open up the season against the Kansas City Chiefs against Chris Jones?
No.
Hell no.
Right now, absolutely not. Like, again.
Hell no.
Again, this is one game, right? That's why you play more than one. But there was nothing today in totality. Again, I'll go back and watch. So
wasn't the worst performance in the center, but it definitely didn't do anything to give you that confidence for a guy who's never played the position before.
Yeah. So I don't think anything's changed in my assessment of, I don't think he should start above Andre James or Bradley Bozeman at center. I don't know. Brad asks, do you think we'll get more national coverage this year? I mean, you got a lot last year.
Because you have, I think, is it 5 national games that are on this year, if I remember correctly? If the Chargers have a good winning record, and especially once you get to those last 5 weeks, things may flex around. Because, I mean, you get Philly, you get Dallas. You still have, 2 divisional games that you finish out in those final 5 weeks?
Schedule's brutal.
Yeah, you may get some extra flex games on there considering what may transpire throughout the season.
Jimmy says, seasons are won and lost on a handful of plays throughout the season. We can't have Zion be a liability. Again, Zion can improve the next few weeks. I'll go back and watch and see how he did when I narrow focus on just him. But right now, nothing moved for me, at least in the right direction, on if he should be the center.
Dan, I'll be curious because I'll be out at practice on Saturday to see what the rotation is. I know that they've been rotating between Bradley Bozeman, Zion Johnson. Zion Johnson, I believe, has still only gotten one. No, I'm sorry. He got 2 padded practices in before this game. Still not more than what Bradley Bozeman has seen thus far since camp opened. But now that we've been hearing the mentions of Andre James, I'll be very interested, especially after this game, to see what the rotation is like starting on Saturday and gearing up for that second preseason game.
Yeah, I'll be curious. Wave to Jake. Go say hi to Jake this weekend if you're going to be out at our camp. I don't think I realized this until I was just looking at a couple stats, and 5 turnovers Chargers team forced today. It had none. That's a recipe for success.
About as clean as you can get.
Yeah. Bolt Bros Chargers podcast in the house. What's up, fellas? Bolt up, bros. First game, fun first game. And I think we got a ton of depth on this team that has sorely been lacking for years. Preach, brother. Preach. Forgotten Locale says, I still think it's a smokescreen.
could be 100% correct. Again, I think just from the standpoint, I really believe that this coaching staff wants Zion Johnson to be a part of this team long term. But it's a little bit indicative of the play when you've seen, obviously, that they didn't pick up his fifth-year option. And whether that's to have him long term as guard or as they're trying to have him in a different position and try him out to see how he does. Again, I think that they're giving him every opportunity for success. I'm not saying that it's guaranteed that it's going to happen.
That he will.
Yeah. There's obviously improvement that he needs to make at center. There's also improvement that he needs to make as a guard that we're still waiting for. You can't go back to that Houston game and blame everything on Bradley Bozeman because it wasn't just him. Zion Johnson had a piece in that as well. Now, he's athletic and he's smart enough to obviously grow into a better player. But if you ask me, the best situation for Zion Johnson going into this next season is to have Rashawn Slater to your left and Andre James to your right and put him back to what he's used to and hope for the best.
All right, so this is funny. So School the Pro comes in with honesty. How bad did Zion do? I only remember the 2 bad snaps. P.S. I started drinking an hour before the game.
I mean, at least you remember those plays. So that's good.
Again, this isn't to shit on Zion Johnson. I want to go back and give him my fair shake so I can go through and assess it correctly. But hearing what Jim Harbaugh talks about at the podium afterwards, it seemed to me, maybe this is the smoke screen that was being alluded to, but the things he was talking about, right? He's the most versatile, or he's super versatile, right? He's super strong. He's, a weight guru in the gym. He is super smart. Like, cool. Like, all of those things seem great in like a flex lineman, but I'm not necessarily for your starting center, because those things don't they clearly do not translate, parentheses, yet, for Zion. Could it in the future? Yes, but as it stands now, like, that's not something that you hear someone talk about a starter over veterans. That sounds like someone who's like an up and coming, maybe an ascending player, but they're not ascended, right? Like, they're getting somewhere. And like that, I'll give him. Sure. Jimmy says, Trey Harris and OG, Ronnie Gadsden didn't get many targets, but both looked good.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think Trey only got 1 target, and that was the one that Trey Lance overthrew when he was trying to target him in the end zone. I don't remember him getting any other target than that.
I don't think he actually got a target at all. I think that was someone else that was in the end zone. On the left side, you mean?
Left side, the one that was overthrown, I think that was the only target that Trey Harris saw.
Was it in the end zone?
Mm-hmm. 1 target, no catches.
Okay. There's also, was it who was the other receiver that got the fade ball? It was like back to back.
Yes. He was the one that the Chargers signed just a week ago.
Was it Jaquay Jackson?
Yes.
Okay. That's the one I was referring to. What do you make of Will Dissly, Tucker Fisk getting action? I was like, wow, these guys are catching.
I honestly didn't figure that I was going off of this whole message that Jim Harbaugh was putting out, saying that the majority of the veterans were not going to play. So I wasn't even expecting to see Will Dissly out there, and I wasn't paying attention that he was even in the lineup. I was focusing on something else. And then all of a sudden, here he comes. Catching touchdown passes like he was doing last year. I'm like, oh, the hell is he doing in the game? Okay, great.
And Jimmy alludes to what I was referring to at the beginning of the show. And I think this is something that's important and refreshing, to your point, Jake, is the names we hear standing out of camp are the ones standing out in the games. And, a lot of people, they will shrink at the opportunity, when the bullets fly. Like, sometimes they kind of crawl back a little bit. Not today, man. Not today. Was there who else we may have missed? Folks in the chat, help us out here. Who shined today that we didn't really give much love? Yeah, we talked about KLS, talked about Hassan Haskins, we talked about Naheem Hines
Yeah, I'm
talked
hoping
about
to
the
see.
corners and safeties.
I'm hoping to see a little bit more out of that running back room. Not to say that it wasn't good to see Kamani Vidal score 2 touchdowns, but I'm really looking forward to the possibility of seeing Rocket Sanders. I was actually pretty bummed when I heard that he was not going to be playing in this game because I firmly believe when you start seeing him out there, and again, he had just returned to practice earlier this week, that he has a legitimate shot of getting in that running back battle and making it interesting. 100%.
So right now, where do you see that running back room behind the obvious two?
My final predictions were that it was going to come down to who are you going to keep between Kamani Vidal and Hassan Haskins. Now that's flexed a little bit because Rocket Sanders has not seen much of the practice field. Thankfully, he started back at practice earlier this week. Unfortunately, he didn't end up playing the game today, but he was actually one that I had making this final roster and being part of like the core 4 running backs that the Chargers were ultimately going to keep. I can't say that with confidence right now. Hopefully something is going to change going into this second preseason game.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm looking at this rushing group, right? Kamani Vidal, 9 carries, 37 yards. So that's over 4 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. Hassan Haskins, 6 for 34 yards. That's over 5 yards a carry.
Man, on that one run, he put on a bulldozer avatar.
Twice.
Trucking those dudes.
Yeah, I agree. You saw Naheem Miller-Hines, 8 for 34. This is above 4 yards a clip. Martin Hampton, 2 for 9, above 4 yards a clip. All of them above 4 yards. Like, that's efficient, right? 35 attempts, 121 yards total. Like, that's Jim Harbaugh football, honestly. And so right now, Najee and Omarion, doesn't matter who's 1, 2, doesn't matter. After those two, let's say they keep 4, okay, for the argument. You've got Jared Patterson, Rocket Sanders, Hassan Haskins, Kamani Vidal. Most likely, those are going to be your 4 fighting for 2. Who are the lower 2, quote unquote lower 2?
Right now, it's Kamani Vidal and Hassan Haskins. Have to say that without question. The value that Hassan Haskins, obviously, that you saw just to come in and be more of like a short yardage back the way he showed, whether it was in this preseason game or what we saw from him last year, but also his value on special teams. He has huge value on special teams.
Yep.
And Kamani Vidal is, especially when you look at the running styles of Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris. We said the same thing of Vidal last year when you had Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. He's just a different change of pace of a running back that I think that can add some juice. Now, to me, again, when we started talking about this list, I felt like Rocket Sanders was kind of like a souped-up version of Kamani Vidal, given what he brings to the table, and again, his addition on special teams that he can contribute with.
Definitely bigger, yeah.
But he needs to get on the field.
He needs to do it.
So right now, I can't put Najee Harris in that core 4. But I think that the running back room in general, that's going to be one where I think you could say has the most flexibility between now and the end of preseason in terms of who can ultimately make it.
Yeah. And Jimmy has a good point here about Kamani Vidal. I know I'm saying that wrong. Vidal? Is it Vidal? I think it's Vidal. Focus the chat. Keep me honest here. I think it's Vidal. Vidal's issue, I'll say Kamani because I'm not going to get that right. His issue last year wasn't running, although it wasn't great running either, but he just couldn't pass protect to save his life. And so that's probably what needs to improve the most. So can he do that better? To me, like Hassan Haskins is probably 3. And then after that, it's a bloodbath, man. I think that 4 spot's going to be brutal. And that might be a position where fans start to shed some tears a little bit with guys that might lose out on the roster spot. Brad says, I love how we get younger at every position. Feels good. Jake, we have 5-10 minutes left. Want to do some rapid fire?
Sure.
Time. All right, folks in the chat. You know the drill. You got us for 5-10 more minutes tops. If you have any questions, topics, thoughts, put them in there. Jake and I will try to go rapid fire here to get as many of your thoughts in here before we hit the pillow. Jake, what's your hat say today? Same one as last time?
Same one that it's been for a year.
Do you wear the same hat in every episode?
No, I have rotated. I've got about 3 different hats, but this is the one that I majority go through. Yes.
Okay. Cool. Good for you. School of Pro. I was disappointed that Hampton tried to win with speed instead of power on that outside goal run.
That's a fixable one.
Initially, I was, but also when you go back and watch the replay of that, it looked like there was 2 guys, one of which was his own teammate, like right in front of him if he went for power. If he tried cutting in.
But even I was hoping that he was going to make that cut inwards. Same. So
the first one, not the second one.
I get it, and I think that that's a lesson learned. That it's just like, okay, this isn't North Carolina anymore. Got to start using, the jukes more than just the downfield speed.
All right, so people in the chat aren't even in alignment. Pepe Le Pew.
All the different versions of Vidal that we got was great.
We got Valledal. We've got K-Mani Vidal.
This sounds like the Ladidi Mekonke versions
of
the substitute teacher.
Jake, we're up to 560. Folks in the chat, y'all are bananas. A tier or another $2.
Crazy late night like this. I love this. You guys are awesome.
We literally were like, are we going to get 6 people in here?
Yeah. Figured you all would have gone to sleep, but no, you guys got Chargers in your veins, on the brain.
As we do.
And you guys are in here. It's awesome to see you guys.
A tier $2 donation. Chargers pass defense will be the best in the NFL. I mean, okay. So after the previous regime was swiftly let out, Jake and I had like a heart-to-heart. And I felt like I just felt like I couldn't get any lower. And I think it changed me.
For you to be that low and for our personalities basically to shift from what this show and its content used to be and who was dishing out what. That was weird.
Because I was the shamelessly optimistic, hopeful. I was the one that was just...
You could have shit thrown on your face, someone tell you it's chocolate pudding, and you were going to believe it and enjoy it.
Yeah, I was hopeful, right? I was the optimist through and through. But what I learned, and I keep telling myself this through all of last season, I'm going to keep it this year too, is like hopium and optimism can only go so far if they are not tethered to at least some bit of reality. And so, Athir, love you, buddy. But what is the reality that you are pointing to that shows that they are going to have the best pass rush in the NFL?
I think he said the best pass defense.
Pass defense? Let me go back.
I think it was pass defense. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
But this is what, a prediction like 6 or 7 that we've heard from Athir, because Marion Hammond's going to get Rookie of the Year. Justin Herbert's going to set the world on fire, get the passing record and the NFL MVP. The Chargers are going to win the Super Bowl this year. Now we're going to have the best pass defense in the league. It's just, Athir is just going for every single possible thing that he can call for to have the best Chargers season in history happen.
If the Chargers have the best defense in the NFL, the best pass defense in the NFL, no chance Jesse Minter is here next year.
If you do that against the offenses that you have to go up against this year, holy shit.
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty much just kiss Jesse Minter goodbye, but do everything that you can to keep Coach Klingscale.
100%. Let's see. Beef. All right, let's get some of these comments. If you only keep 2 quarterbacks, 3 tight ends, you keep more CBs and running backs. Well, if you keep 2 quarterbacks, it's probably Lance and Justin. 3 tight ends, you've got Disley, Gadsden, Conklin. And then you're hoping Fisk.
Chargers kept 3 tight ends last year. They really like Tucker Fisk, though. They really like Tucker Fisk. And again, I think that they're going to adapt more of utilizing what Fisk does best and what Will Dissly does best in terms of blocking. And then you go out in free agency and you get.
But are you gonna have 2 blocking tight ends and 2 pass catching tight ends on the team?
I'm just saying.
No, I don't know. I'm genuinely asking.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility. Hell no. Absolutely not. But to their point, if it went like this, and do you keep more running backs running backs and corners? Yeah, you have to figure. That's always the tough part when it comes down to the 53 is where are you going to sacrifice at different positions? To me right now, corner is the most competitive position group that there is. How the hell are you going to sort that mess out, especially after what we just saw tonight?
Yeah, I don't know.
How are you going to sort that safety position out after what we've seen over the last couple of weeks? It's going to be tough. I do not envy Joe Ortiz and the rest of this front office and coaching staff when it comes to making those final decisions here in the next couple of weeks.
I'm with you. That sounds like a hard job. But again, like that's the job you want, right? You want to be able to have tough decisions because your roster is that deep. Like that's kind of the dream, isn't it? At least as a GM, right? Like, I don't know, man. Jimmy, again, is I think on cue, right? There are too many corners. Still, Hart, Jackson, we talked about this before. St. Juice, Taylor, Leonard, Reed, that's 7. How are we going to keep them all? Like, I don't think they're going to. And that's the crazy part.
I still believe when it comes down to it, the Chargers will keep 10 DBs, 6 at the cornerback position, 4 at the safety.
Now, what makes it tough is corners versus interior defensive line.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't help. But again, the Chargers kept, I think it was 6 defensive linemen last year and 11 DBs in total last year as well. And again, we've talked about, look at what you've done on the defensive line as well. You obviously brought back Tyler Tart. You bring in Naquan Jones, Deshaun Hand. You're still kind of waiting to see what Tito's going to develop into. You just drafted Jamari Caldwell.
A Boygby's a new person.
A Boygby is somebody that they have huge expectations for this year.
Matlock wants to be more.
You already know he's kind of like a two-way player. So if you're going to use him more primarily as a fullback, he can rotate in there a little bit more. But yeah, defensive line is not going to be any better when it comes to making final decisions.
No. Hampton for Rookie of the Year, says Brad. Sign me up for it. That sounds great. Jimmy says, we need a better 4th edge. Thoughts. So this is one of the storylines I had going into this game was, will this Chargers team need to bring in reinforcements at the edge position? Because right now we are banking on Thule having an uptick. You're banking on Dupree providing value in the pass rushing acumen. And also you're banking on Kyle Kennard. So you're banking on a rookie. You're banking on an older veteran who hasn't really been like the huge production machine, Bud Dupree. And Thule, who Thule can be good, but like we're hoping to see what we have not seen yet, right? Like I'm getting back to the hopium tethered to reality thing. Could they go out and get a veteran? Do they need to get reinforcements? You saw Caleb Murphy, right? Caleb Murphy's shining a bit, right? You got your Tremont Morris Brash. Would a veteran brought in be better than those options? Is that where they spend their money?
I don't think that they would put it out of consideration, especially if you get to final cuts and a certain name becomes available that really entices you. I still think that they're okay with their 4 edge players being Thule, Mack, Dupree, and ultimately Kyle Kennard. I'm not absolving Kyle Kennard and essentially not handing him the job because I was hoping to see a lot more from him tonight that we didn't get a chance to see. So I'm hoping that comes up here over through the final 3 preseason games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. So I'm looking at quickly. Matthew Judon's there. Zadarius Smith's there. Jadeveon Clowney's there. Carl Lawson and Ngakwe's still there. Like, you got some names here, right? Like,
there are some names, but
take away your like what your heart tells you about Caleb Murphy or Morris Brash or hell, Kennard for that matter. Like
Again,
if you just go out there week 1 against the Chiefs and someone told you can choose Kennard, Josh Sweat, or let's say Kennard, Murphy, Morris Brash, or Josh Sweat. Who you're
not going to get rid of a 4th round pick in Kyle Kennard. His roster spot is.
I'm not saying you're
safe.
getting rid of him. I'm not saying you're getting rid of him. I'm just saying, like, if you just put your blinders on and take away your affiliation for the guys you know, if you're wanting to go win a football game in Brazil against Chiefs, who would you want your 4th or 5th to be? Do you want one of those names I just mentioned? Or do you want Caleb Murphy, Morris Brash?
I mean, yeah.
Let's say 5. Let's say 5.
When you put it like that, sure.
So I'm putting a Joe Ortiz hat on for a sec.
But here's the hard part. Because when it comes down to 53-man roster, I don't see you keeping more than 4 edge players. You're not going to keep 5 edges.
I don't know.
Even if you want to go out and sign, you just signed Bud Dupree. Unless that contract, you just all of a sudden decide to tear that up and replace it with another contract.
I'm saying 5.
Then I don't see that happening. I just, with the need for positions that you have elsewhere, we just talked about interior defensive line and corner. You can't keep 5 edge players on the final 53 and sacrifice at those other positions when that's really where you've seen the most competition on defense between those two.
Forgotten Locale says the hope doesn't feel forced or too artificial this time. Agreed.
We've seen it.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Like last year, the hope and the hype was huge, and we were just waiting for what was ultimately going to end up playing out. And now we've seen it. Now the best part is we get to see it with a revamped, retooled, and definitely improved roster.
Yeah, it feels good. Jimmy says defensive tackle position looks solid. Going 6 deep there with Tart, Hand, Jones, Tito, Abonia, and Caldwell. So he's not including a Boygby in that. So would a Boygby then be out? I don't think so. Like maybe. Oh, wait. Oh, Tito.
I think he combined Tito and a boy. Yeah. I think he combined Tito and split his first name and his last name into 2 separate names.
Important question. Jeremy's asking, what barbecue place is on your hat? Little Miss Barbecue. This is in Arizona. With some buddies from college there. Highly recommend if you're down there. All right, Jake. We're not doing rapid fire very well. Do we get compensation for coaches leaving, right?
I don't think you get compensation for coaches leaving unless they're traded.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no compensatory picks for lost coaches. If it was, then the Detroit Lions would have a shit ton of compensatory picks right now.
Jimmy says trim, tackle, and linebacker. Okay, well, actually, that reminds me. There's a question earlier, Jake. What did you think about Junior Colson today?
There were some flashes. Again, he's ramped. This is essentially his first real training camp.
Yeah,
it's his first real training camp. Because remember, last training camp he missed a lot going through that appendectomy surgery that he was going through.
He missed almost all of it.
Yeah, so he's still ramping up, which is probably why you consider Deion Henley and Denzel Perryman to be your starters right now. Eventually, he's going to get there. And I have no doubt about it, just from the standpoint of him knowing this defense inside and out. He's a very, very intelligent player, especially when it comes to his ability in coverage. I can't wait to see Junior Colson and Deion Henley next to one another. Honestly, I think that's going to be such a formidable linebacker duo.
I agree. Jeremy asked, can one of those corners play center?
Jeez. You know, if there's anybody who could play center on the defense, it's Derwin James. Just do it. He could play anywhere, right?
Yeah. Oh, man. Let's see. Dupree and Mack could both be gone next season. You need Kennard on the roster. Can't lose him to a practice squad swipe. I agree. I was purely saying in the scenario of you'd probably have 5.
Yeah, I just don't see that happening.
Tom Telesco should receive a lifetime ban from the NFL for wasting 11 years of Rivers and Herbert. Jeremy says next preseason Zion's going to try out the edge rusher position. How about that, Jake? Improved flexibility.
Yeah, let's have Zion go up against Rashawn Slater or Joe Alt.
Yeah,
I'm sure that'll go well.
We're up to 600, folks. Did we just pull all nighter, Jake? Let's just see how high this thing goes.
I do not have the amount of
not.
caffeine in my bloodstream right now to do so. But
yeah,
I appreciate everybody that's in here, wherever you are.
Yeah, I love you.
I know it's late, no matter what it is.
Yeah, I love you, but I have a newborn at home with another toddler, and I didn't get much sleep last night, so I got to hope for some, but it's tethered to reality, so probably not.
Yeah, you're running on fumes, dude.
Man. Jimmy, appreciate you. Since we got the time, we're about to head out of here. If you haven't done so already, phone a friend, tell a friend, hit the like and subscribe. If you're a Chargers fan, do us a favor. Takes you 2 seconds, makes our day. It probably makes you feel better about yourself too, that you're helping us out. Like I would. Thank you, Jeremy. She's 3 years old. And then I got one that's almost 6 weeks now. Jay, which is 6 weeks. That's crazy. That's nuts. All right, we went through a bunch here. We saw a lot today, and I think there was by far, right, and this is obvious, more good than bad. Was it perfect? No. Were there things that could have improved or been better? Yeah, but like the macros here, like Trey Lance looks like a legit QB2. Like that's not in the clouds. That's Chargers have been dreaming about a legit QB2 forever. It looks like you've got some studs on offensive weapon-wise, right? KLS did KLS things. Martin Hampton looks legit. You saw a competition for that running back squad. Like, it looks good. Center, still TBD. We'll see. Corner safeties look legit. Shout out to Clink. Shout out to Jesse Mentor again. Wow, Jimmy.
I had to make sure you saw that one and put that one in there.
Jimmy said
that it is late night on Chargers Unleashed.
She's probably a better. Oh, well, no. She is 3 years old. He is 6 weeks. He could barely keep his neck up. I don't think he's a better center at this point. Oh, man. Jake, anything else?
It's a good start to preseason, man. It's good to see football back in general because obviously we get a chance to talk about things like this when the football pads come on and we're actually going up against different teams. And I'm sorry, but preseason matters. You can screw off with that whole sentiment. This is exciting because when you have teams like this and you have organizations that are being built up like this, something that we are not used to seeing, it's exciting to talk about it. So it's nice that the Chargers get an extra preseason game this year. 100%. You just get to see this team a little bit more. And the next 3 weeks are going to be fierce as far as the competitions at certain positions. So I'm excited to watch it, Dan. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. You're not going to be able to sandblast the smile off my face right now, even the fact that it is nearly 11 o'clock our time. Why? Because football's back and we get to do this in this type of format. It feels good.
I was going to go with what Jeremy says. Amen, Jake. Preach, brother, preach. Yeah, this Chargers team, like there was something in here. Someone said, enjoy every second, it goes fast. Like I'm assuming that's what they're saying about the kids, but also like it's kind of a life motto for this Chargers team right now. Like enjoy these moments, right, with this coaching staff as it currently stands. Like it goes fast.
Come on, man. It's only year 2. Are we talking like that right now? I just said don't sandblast the smile off my face, okay?
All right. Well, keep the smile on Jake's face on Saturday when you go see him at training camp. He'll be at the podium. He'll be doing all the things for LA Football Network and Chargers Unleashed. So he'll have some takes. Don't forget to follow him at Jake T. Hefner so you can get all his up-to-minute updates from camp. Have you decided what black attire you're wearing?
First of all, how did you know I was going to wear black? Why? Because that's 90% of what my wardrobe is.
Yep.
Hell of a guess there, MacGyver. Sherlock. I wonder how you came up with that one. No, I have not decided. Most likely, though, I will be wearing shorts because it's hot.
Yeah.
Even though you actually get a breeze at the Bolt in El Segundo, as opposed to what we did not get at Costa Mesa.
For those of you who have to sit on the bleachers, Forgotten Locale tells you, please bring a cushion for the bleachers because the borderline killed his rear on Saturday. Smiled on, sleeves off, check.
Yeah, that one was for you, Dan. Sleeves off. Damn it. Stop knocking the Belichick look.
There were so many directions I could have gone with that. I just kept it sealed. Cool.
Belichick look, not Belichick life. Okay.
I said nothing.
I make sure I'm clear on that. Not Belichick life, Belichick look. All right.
Just making sure the emphasis are on the right syllables. If you know what I mean.
That's what we're talking about.
Oh man. All right, cool. Jake, let's get some sleep. Folks in the chat, 600 strong. Y'all are crazy. But we love you. And Chargers win. This is a pretty good start to training camp. 34-7. Never a doubt. Chargers put the foot on the gas and never look back. 5-0 turnover ratio. QB2 goes crazy. KLS looks great. Corners look fantastic. Honestly, I think, okay, last thing, Jake. Last thing. Three best players tonight. I think Trey Lance has to be one.
I'd say Trey Lance, Nico Reed, and KLS.
Yeah, I think you're right. Cool. All right. That's fun. Well, sleep tight, Bull fam. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon. And get some rest. We'll talk to you the next Chargers Unleashed. I'm so tired. Good night, everybody.